In this topic, let us discuss the digital sphere of an emerging context of a new technology and human interaction, the implication of digital sphere for the study of ethics, explain cyberbullying as one of the consequences of the evolution of the digital technology, identify available interventions to combat cyberbullying, and explore the responsible use of digital technology. So, as what you see in the visual, there is cyberbullying. So, what do you mean by cyberbullying? It is a term that has just become popular because of the technology that makes the phenomenon possible became only available in recent years. This social fact proves that in this so-called digital age, technology has ceased to be a plain tool of communication or production. It has also transformed itself into a context of human interaction, or in the case of cyberbullying, a dysfunctional interaction. So, the kind of connectivity promised by the social media apparently does not always result in people getting closer together. So there are different forms of cyber malpractices. First is harassment. So a person who sends malicious messages or threats to another person and does this repeatedly is guilty of harassment. Example, cyber talking. It is an example of harassment, especially when offensive or rude messages are continuously employed. The second type of cyberbullying is flaming. It is almost similar to harassment, a hostile online interactions that involves insulting messages or flames between users. Flaming may occur in the context of internet forums, chat rooms, use internet groups, social networks, and game lobbies, where there is a mix of people with differing ideologies from different cultures. It is also known as bashing. The third type is exclusion. So exclusion is which happens when a person is ejected from a community or chat group and has become a target of demeaning messages even after he or she is excluded. In exclusion, one example is online isolation. It affects the victims similarly to real-life isolation. This usually hurts a little more because those are your friends in the group chat in the first place. Cyberbullying still can happen with people you consider friends with in real life. The fourth type is outing. A person is considered by experts as a victim of outing when private matters about him or her are leaked online, whether in the form of a photo, a video, or a mere posted data. The varieties of scandals circulated via social media are graphic examples of outing. And lastly is called masquerading. As the word indicates, masquerading takes place when a cyberbully assumes a fake identity in order to send malicious messages to his or her target. Politicians and showbiz personalities, being public figures, are usually the common victims of masquerading. Like for example, people have so much personal pictures of themselves on websites such as Facebook and Instagram that there are people out there creating fake profiles impersonating these people. So that's what we call fake identity. Another topic is malpractices in cyberspace. So, other malpractices includes intellectual property theft. So, it is a person commits plagiarism when he or she takes a digital material, oftentimes a narrative material, and passes it off as his or her, although he or she is not its author. Plagiarism does not distinguish whether the lifted materials is a line, a sentence, a paragraph, a whole page, or an entire chapter, but it should determine the seriousness of a person's culpability, and does not all change the complexion of plagiarism as a violation of the law. So, ang example ko no sa intellectual property theft is plagiarism. Ang plagiarism is kanang mag mangapi ka og dili imong kaugalingon nga, for example, story or mga tula, mga kanta. So next is piracy. So this is another kind of intellectual property theft. In piracy, the person involved does not only stop at acquiring a digital material illegally, also engage in its unauthorized distribution. So, music and movies are the usual items targeted for piracy. The pirated material is then circulated by having it recorded in various memory devices or making it available online. Some individuals are engaged in the distribution of pirated materials. Others are content in making the copyright material accessible to the public. Copyright matters online are usually off limits unless a person pays in a certain fee. Ripping. It is the process which allows a hacker to remove a sounds or movie file from its protective environment. Particularly digital materials become readily available to the public free of charge. So, ripping kono is kanang hacker para i-move ang mga sounds or movie files sa imuhang protective environment. So, another is digital predation. Some cyber malpractices go beyond duplication, dissemination of digital materials. People who engage in digital predation prey on certain individuals for soliciting either financial or sexual favors or for just the sheer pleasure of doing so. So, ang digital predation kuno is kanang mangayo og solicit. It's either financial or sexual favors. Next is false digital identity. This practice of assuming in order to talk or harass other netizens is an example of this highly offensive behavior. So there are also prevalent types of cyber malpractice. It may include phishing and misinformation. So phishing it involves the use of deception to lure in individual to reveal vital or highly confidential data about himself or herself, such as credit card number, bank details, or social security number, using a misleading email by enticing the potential victim to register on a bogus web page or clicking on a phony link. On the other hand, misinformation is the best illustrated by the proliferation of fake news. People who engage in this activity will go as far as setting up a web page or producing a streaming video for the cause of spreading lies online. So, ang kalahian kuno sa duha is ang phishing manggamit og mga data information like sa imong account, sa imong mga credit card, or other information you have. Then sa misinformation naman is katong mga fake news like kanang nasa balita nga dili mga tinuod.
Good day everyone, and now let's talk about the legal interventions of the cyber malpractices. Because of the variety of the cyber malpractices, the government instituted a Cybercrime Prevention Act, or also known as Republic Act 10175, which envisioned to address the cyber offenses such as illegal access or hacking, cyber sex, and child pornography and other forms of cyber malpractices. This Republic Act 10175 is a manifestation of the government's commitment to attain a free, easy, and eligible access or exchange of information through the internet. Onwards, the Republic Act 10175 was improved on its predecessor law, the Electronic Commerce Law, or Republic Act 8792, which deals mainly with any kind of electronic data messages and electronic document used in contract of commercial and non-commercial activities to include domestic and international dealings, transactions, arguments, or any transactions that includes the use of electronic or the internet. Last 2015, a new bill was proposed at the Congress, directed mainly about the issue of cyberbullying. It was labeled as the Anti-Cyberbullying Act of 2015, or also known as the House Bill 5718. In the context of Cyberbullying Act, cyberbullying defined as an act of cruelty committed using the internet or any other forms of technology or electronic media or technology that affects someone's mental or emotional well-being. The bill likewise identified specific acts of bullying. First, repeatedly sending offensive, rude, and insulting messages to the victim. Next, distributing derogatory information about the victim. Next, posting or sending offensive photos or videos of the victim. Next is breaking into an email, social networking, or any electronic accounts and using someone's identity. Next is sharing the victim's personal information or any embarrassing information to others. And lastly, repeatedly sending messages that include threats of harm or engaging someone into activities that can harm her or him. That includes the specific acts of bullying. That is under the Anti-Cyberbullying Act of 2015. So, if you're one of the victim of acts of bullying, you should stand for your right. You should know your right as a human and stand to defend your dignity in order to be a good citizen and can defend others, right? Because defending others must start in defending your own right as a citizen of the Philippines. That's all. Thank you.